Hey, hey, wine lovers. Guess who it is? Your favorite wine people.
The favorite drunks you have on Facebook.
Corey and Ray.
Or at least two of them. So here we are again doing another little mini episode. Today is actually a bottle that I grabbed from my little collection. It's one, you could probably get this brand of wine, this type of wine, but not necessarily this vintage anymore. So in my collection, I had this French Malbec. So Malbec is a grape that started in Bordeaux, but it didn't really ultimately do well in that climate. You occasionally saw it in blends, but it was usually the least amount of percentage in the blend. A famous wine, the name is escaping me, the people who know the science of grapes and where they do well and everything. This one gentleman thought, I bet Malbec will do better in a much drier climate and a much, higher altitude. And so he brought it and planted it in Argentina, where now it is the most planted grape in Argentina. And Argentinian Malbecs are pretty much what that country is known for, yes, more or less. However, in the south of France, in Cahors, you can still find very nice Malbecs. And that's where this particular one is from. The Chateau La Reine. And
say that again.
Reine.
Reine.
Chateau La Reine.
That's kind of how you say your name when you're drunk. Reine. What's your name?
And that's exactly where she cuts me off. But I always liked this one, so I had one and I held on to it, kind of forgot about it, came across it, and I thought, well, this will be a good one to bring because it'll also show a different example of what Malbecs can be like, as opposed to just your typical Argentinian kind of Malbec. So this is a 2012, it's got some age to it, and it's a French Malbec. So why don't you give me some of your impressions, Corey?
You're definitely...
Not all at once.
I mean, I was getting a strong scent of alcohol right away. So I was surprised at the strong scent of alcohol. So
that's something that you would get from a bottle that's been lied down for a while, because that's
what I was taking in and then trying to get past to get the next scent. So
thank you for explaining.
Give me a minute.
There are some people out there who thought Corey might have had a mini stroke. What are your impressions?
He's, Mr. Instant. If you're not like this,
I'm Mr. Showbiz. I once played
Will
Rush.
What is the alcohol content on this, by the way?
The alcohol on this one is 13%.
Well, then I guess it's the age and, not being decanted for a period of time. I would think that...
I mean, to be honest with you, we ultimately should have opened this a long time ago and given it a few hours, but we've had it open for about 30 minutes, I guess. So that's why you're picking up.
You definitely get, you get currants, you get blackberries.
But what do you think as opposed to, say, the Argentinian Malbec?
It's very different than, it's lighter than, I don't get the same. Malbecs normally have a spice to them, and this one does not.
Okay.
What do you think the difference is?
Well, obviously it has to do with the terroir. I mean, south of France is much different than Argentina, and so those elements that play into it change the wine somewhat. And I think these Cahors Malbecs are just beautiful little hidden gems. Not people think Malbec, they ultimately never really think Cahors.
Sure, I didn't think they came really from anywhere else other than Argentina. So. And
it says here you'll pick up aromas of black currant, spice, licorice. I think that, all of that is appropriately described. It's nice. It's got a nice density, nice dark fruit to it.
Now, how hard is this for someone to find?
Well, like I said, this particular vintage would be hard, but this particular wine, I would think the current vintage is probably somewhere 2018, 2019. It would be, maybe 2 to 3 years old. But it's not that hard to come by.
And the price per bottle?
If I remember correctly, this was like $14-15 a bottle. So it wasn't, and I proved you can age it. You can lie it down for a little while. And, they recommend it with strong cheeses. beef stew, duck confit.
Yeah, it definitely would pair well with something hearty and heavy and still stand up and do fine. So definitely, I mean, interesting. Learned a lot today, and it's good for people
it
who
just
like
goes to show
Malbecs
you.
and
I mean, you
wanna...
can hold on to something as long as it's stored properly. 9 years, you know.
There you go.
And you know, it'd probably do well for another year or two.
See?
So that's why I thought it was good time to break it out.
Good time. And people who want to, you know, people who love Malbecs and want to try something different, perfect.
Go to Cahors. It doesn't necessarily have to be Chateau Lorient. There are a few Malbec producers in Cahors, France. But if you ever do, you know, in your local wine shop, just ask your wine guy if he's got any Malbecs from Cahors and give it a shot. It won't be a big investment, but definitely worth trying out, especially if you're a Malbec fan.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing this with us. We hope you enjoyed it. Learn a little something new. We look forward to seeing you next time. And as always, good friends,
good wine,
great life.